This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
I don't know. Why would they sit there and watch us talk into microphones and look at each other and look at your faces that you give me sometimes?
And co-host Marnie Winfield.
In situations like that, if you take the time to weigh the pros and cons of your involvement in something, I think this is across the board with a lot of things in life. You know, does it make sense for me in my world?
It is the 6th of August, 2022. My name is Corey Winfield.
My name is Marnie Winfield.
And this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Thanks for listening. Whether you're listening on the 217 Recovery app, which is free, or you're listening on iHeartRadio, or Amazon, or Pandora, or Spotify, or whatever.
There's lots of them.
Hey, thanks. So today, I have some things planned for the show. We're going to talk about stuff that you talk about, which is kind of fitting because making a list of pros and cons, and then we can throw it away and act like we didn't just do that, because that's sometimes what we do if them cons start adding up. But it's something I really want to do, and I think it's a really good idea. You can do whatever you want with the list, but if you write it out and go through the situation of, okay, what's the pro and what's the con, and be for real with yourself, it can help you make some pretty good decisions about your life.
Gives you a lot of insight to where you're at with things.
Yes. But we're not going to do that yet.
Okay.
Going to review a movie called Black Phone.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do that here in just a minute. Not doing that yet either. We're going to do some shout outs today because we didn't do that Thursday because I replayed a show kind of. But on that show that I replayed, I was talking about a friend of mine named Mark. That's what we'll call him because that's his name. And he was the guy that I knew in Kalamazoo. That's where I met him when I worked for WRKR, and he was a sales guy, a good dude, but we drank a lot together. That's kind of things, that's what we did. And over the years, I guess we've kind of kept in touch, but not very frequently, maybe a few times a year. He'll hit me up, or I'll hit him up or something like that. And when I was living at Nathan's house, he hit me up. He was like, hey man, this drinking thing, think I might, have a problem too. And I don't think he put it just like that, but it was pretty much that's what he said. And since then, it was like 3 years ago. Since then, I've kept in touch with him, and I talked to him, and he's had another child. And I used to think that having a child, getting married, once I have a kid, once I get married, that's when I'll stop. Mm-hmm. In reality, it doesn't work that way. It's just not how the brain works. It's not how the addiction works. So for him, when I played that episode, and then he reached out to me, like, it was really weird because he doesn't listen to the podcast. So it was kind of weird that he would reach out to me, and he's like, hey man, he called me late last night, and I told him I'll call him back today, but it was just kind of weird. It didn't sound like he was in a good place.
Right. And
he had told me before that, he'd kind of go down to the basement, where you have the pint. And I remember doing these same kind of things. And then you walk up with the same beer. I've only been drinking this one beer. Meanwhile down there, he's probably forgotten where all the half pints and pints are hidden. So I've been there. I know what you're going through with that. And it's to the point where I think he's kind of exhausted now. And that's where I wish the stigma of it all would just kind of go away. And when people would start feeling this way and start realizing their life is kind of getting out of control and they're not living the best life. And yeah, he got married, and yeah, he has kids now, but that's not the answer. That doesn't make you not drink less. For some people, like my buddy Paul Nelson, I went to high school with him. We would drink all the time. That's what we did. And then he did get married and have kids, but it was before he was a real, before he turned into me,
Okay.
He caught himself before it was that far to where he could stop drinking and go to work and raise his kids. It's different, I think, when you're drinking up until you're 35 or 40 every day, where if you don't have alcohol, you're shaking, and then what do you do? It's way different, as opposed to getting married at 18 or 19 or however old he was, and then it's like, okay, and getting a job and family, and and then he only drank on the weekends, and then I don't even think he really started doing that, especially once he had kids, that became his number one priority. So he was lucky that my friend Paul was lucky that he didn't get to that point of his drinking yet where that became the number one priority. Mm-hmm. And some people, like I say, happens that way, and other people, it doesn't. It happens like it happened for us.
Or there's other people that actually have late onset substance use issues because of this kind of the same thing, like the layout of their life. I have one lady that I know who she didn't start drinking until she was in her mid-40s because she was too busy being a mom and a wife, and she had other responsibilities that kind of, the word she used was it distracted her because there was too much she had to do, and she knew that overall drinking kind of slowed her down and, made her not as sharp, and she had to be on those things, And then other people, I've heard of individuals that retire from their job, right? And so they have all this time on their hands. This brings us to why so many people struggled during the COVID epidemic. There was all this time and then all this money too, because unemployment. So you're not working and you have money. And what are you going to do with it? Nowhere to be, nowhere to even travel to.
Right. Stay in your house. Don't talk to nobody.
Right. And so the isolation piece. And so, it does happen more often than not. It's the first way that you were discussing. But there are, it's particular. It doesn't care how old you are, how much clean time you've had before you start either. So.
Yeah, it's a good point that you brought up.
Thanks.
Because I've heard of that too, or people retiring, or, like you said, with the mom or whatever, and kids left the coop and, all right, now what's up? Now what do I do? Oh, Sherry's calling. Let's go have a drink. Okay.
Yeah.
And before you know it, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday, whatever. I don't have to worry about the kids anymore. I'll get a little part-time job or something. Yeah, that happens, I'm sure, a lot, but just kind of wanted to talk about my buddy Mark and just kind of talk about it, I guess, just because the fact that he just reached out again, and how it was weird timing of how I just played that episode from 3 years ago. So that was kind of interesting.
So you're going to communicate with him later today?
Yes.
Good.
Give him a call.
Yep.
See what he's doing. We'll do shout outs later, but let's do Black Phone.
Okay.
A review of the movie Black Phone. It's on your television screen saying in theaters now, because it is in theaters now. You can pay to go see it at the movie theaters. Do you think people will be disappointed in it?
No, I don't think they would be.
Marnie started cheering. She got up and started clapping. And yeah.
I did.
Doing the Arsenio Hall. Woo, woo, woo,
no,
woo.
I didn't do the Arsenio, but I should have. It was Arsenio worthy for sure.
I'm a big fan of that movie.
I am. I liked it.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Guy. He stars in it, and some kid stars in it too. Not a real big cast.
No, it's really not.
A couple funny moments with the potty mouth sister of the boy.
She's an old school potty mouth.
Yeah. It's set in Colorado in 78, I think, right?
Yeah.
And this boy gets kidnapped. And boys in this neighborhood were getting kidnapped. And they call him the Grabber. That's his nickname. And this boy gets kidnapped, and he's down in this basement, and something going on with the family, because the sister has dreams, and they're like real.
I guess you want to call it like
Psychic.
I don't know what but like I think they call it something else. Medium. Yeah. Some sort of communication with like the other side.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
He somehow had this ability too. So when he gets kidnapped, there's like this phone in the basement that doesn't work, not even hooked up, but it's a way for the dead to communicate to him.
Yeah. Well, don't spoil it.
Okay.
But definitely rent it. It's a little pricey still to rent it on Netflix or what's it? Amazon, Apple. It was Apple.
Amazon. It's all the same. I think.
Anyway,
like $20.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, if you're gonna go out to the movies anyway, get yourself some microwave popcorn. Get yourself a bag of peanut M&Ms. Guarantee you're gonna save some money.
Make a blueberry pie.
Plus, you're comfortable in your own home. Take bathroom breaks.
Pause it.
Want.
Go poop. Come back.
Right. Yeah. So
Whatever.
it's a really good movie. And I think I like it because I'm so into like the killer shows and like the kidnap, serial, the id channel on Discovery Plus. Big fan of those. So that could very well have been a version of
I
that.
thought it was called the ID channel.
Whatever. You can call it whatever you want. It spells id.
I watched the ID channel today.
There you go. It all works.
Yeah, so you're into those things. So maybe that's why. I mean, out of 5 stars, I'd give it 3.5.
I'd give it a 4.
4, 3.5, 4. I mean, it was done well. It was creepy. Ethan Hawke did a good job. So did the kid.
He was super creepy.
But there was a couple things where I'm like, why didn't he just make that hole about a foot higher and just climb out on top of that? But whatever, man. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't as egregious as Top Gun 2 with things that aren't happening or could have happened. You're not ever going to happen. So it wasn't that bad. And I have to remind myself, Corey, this is just a movie.
Yeah.
The ghosts aren't even really talking to him.
Well, and
know?
maybe you never know. But your thing is you're always like judging it like that could have been so much better if you just, and why didn't they make the refrigerator not, it fill in the blank. I don't want to give stuff away, but.
And that's what I found out. That's what I found the most egregious and just, I couldn't deal with.
Yeah.
Not the ghost talking to the kid through a phone.
Well, I mean, like, why didn't he attack him while he was sleeping? Like, I don't know.
I'm bothered about the hole in the wall and getting out with the fridge. Don't mind the ghost telling him where everything was.
Yeah, no, I like that part. So just watch the movie and you'll see what we're talking about. But overall, definitely thumbs up.
Yeah, it's worth it for sure. And $20, you might think, and it's crazy what we used to spend money on. $20, nothing, man.
Yeah.
I can't remember how much my half gallons were, but it was over $20. And like clockwork. Yep, here you go. Wouldn't even think twice. But then renting a movie for $19.99, or my friend Casey, who's starting a podcast, he's like, I'll just get Spreaker and use that. It's $20 a month. Which, okay, it's $20 a month. But for some of us, and me early on too, that's $20 a month, man. I can't be spending that on that. But yet, we'll go out and buy a bottle or some jugs or get whatever and not even think twice. But the things that can make us happy, like renting a movie, $20, that's not a big deal. If you don't have it, well, then don't do that. But yeah, if you're like, hey, we wanted to see a movie and it actually will save you a lot of money.
Yeah, and the other thing too is look at it like treating yourself, right? It's part of self-care and like mindfully knowing that you're doing something healthy. You're doing a healthy activity and you're spending your dollar bills towards something that's making you happy and you're sober while you're doing it. Like that's worth $20.
Every day. It's worth $20.
Every day. Yeah.
That's what I would spend on alcohol. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
But buying pants or a new shirt or something like that, nope. Can't do it. I'm good.
Says the guy who walked around with pants that had holes in your jeans so much you could see your boxers. Mm-hmm. That's what he told me.
Yeah. If you were sitting across from me right now, and this is when I was working in radio, I just kind of looked at it like, I go to my studio every day. I don't care. But yeah, you would see all my junk right now. Because, I mean, it was such a big hole.
That is
I know.
awful. I didn't want to know that part.
I know. I mean, I wouldn't wear them out to, like, places. But if I was just going to work.
So all your coworkers could see your junk?
Yeah. I just wouldn't get up. I don't know. But, yeah, that's nuts, right? Like, that is absolutely crazy. I know you're looking at me like I'm lying. I'm not.
Oh, I actually believe you. I'm just really, I'm reminded all the time, especially when I meet with your parents, how glad I am that I did not know you when you were drinking.
Yeah, just things weren't prioritized right. So
that's a really nice way to put it.
Thanks.
Like, very sweet way to set that out.
A little sugar on the coat.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. So pros and cons, making a list. This is something that I did early on and probably suggested to me by a therapist or counselor or something.
Sponsor.
Nope, wasn't a sponsor, but it was somebody like counselor, therapist, and he's like, make a list of pros and cons, man. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and so I did that, especially early on in recovery. I'd go, well, let's see. And I would do it. I'd draw a line, cross, down, make like a cross on the thing. Cons over here, pros over here. Let's see. Here's where we go. and then cons, and then. But if you're honest with it, it'll help you get an insight. And you don't have to like sit down with your preacher or your sponsor or anybody. You can do this on your phone. You can do it in the bathroom. You can do it while you're eating dinner by yourself. But you can do it with other people too. But I'm saying is do it to where you can be honest.
Right.
And if you need somebody to go, hey, grab a buddy. Like, hey man, I want to talk about this. I'm thinking about buying a 1987 Chevy Camaro. Okay, what are the pros? I have a cool car. Okay. And then somebody's going to be like, oh man, women love it. Okay, I guess. And that's kind of a broad statement. Not all women love it. That's the kind of woman you're looking for. If you're looking for a woman who loves 87 Chevy Camaros, then shit, buy yourself one. You'll find her. But that's pretty specific. Like I would probably advise against trying to find your woman based on what car they like. But that's just me. You can do what you want, though. It's your life. And then the cons would be, well, I'm going to have to get insurance on it. Another vehicle. Gas mileage is horrible.
Where are you going to park it?
Where am I going to park it? It's loud. There's not a seat for the baby. There's not place to keep it in the winter because it's going to be in mint condition, right? Or if it's not, well, then I got to paint it or take it to the body shop. So, I mean, already the cons are like, so I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
And it's not always just monetary stuff. I mean, a lot of it, that weight has a lot of weight on things. But, I mean, right there with that example, even, it's a inconvenience,
I'm not good with examples. I don't know if you.
Oh, it's fine.
Met
That was
me.
fine.
Hi, I'm Corey. We have the same last name. I think we have met. Well, you give an example then of pros and cons, like something that.
No, okay. How
Let's
about
make a pros and
living
cons
in
list of
sober
making
living?
a pros and cons list.
Living and sober living,
Okay.
right?
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah, what would be on the list?
All right, living and sober living.
I'm too close to
I'm
it.
actually writing this now. Pros. There's my cross. Cons. Pros. I would be around sober lifestyle. I'll just put sober lifestyle. Sober lifestyle. Save money. Learn how to live sober. Fun. I don't want to say companionship because that sounds weird, but
I think that's fine. How about structure, accountability,
okay, that's just a couple.
life skills?
Well, I think that is learn how to live sober / life skills. Okay, cons. Ugh. Live with a bunch of other people. Dirty people. I know I'm making this sound really great, right?
It's not your own home.
Right. And not all people are dirty. I don't mean that. I just mean like people not picking up after themselves because that does happen.
Right. And then there's going to be a lot of times when we say be honest with yourself with this list, it's fair to pull ones that are on your pro side to your con side too. So structure, there are rules in sober living, which is a positive thing, but some people might look at it as being a negative thing. But got a 10 o'clock curfew, like that's not a con.
But you have to be honest with, I guess, what is the outcome?
They're all weighted differently, but this practice, this exercise is just to get it, like rack your brain.
Okay, so curfew, can't bring women home or dudes.
Right.
Can't be having sex, I'll put.
Right.
Chores. Help. I'm going to put that on the pro side. And by help, I mean if, there's somebody, and I don't mean like, hey man, can I borrow $20? But sometimes people, like I used to help people get to the food bank. I would give Tyrone sometimes a ride to the bank so he could draw out money for me.
And there are certain resources that are available to you when you are living in transitional housing. So anyhow, that was just an example. But
yeah, the pros are outweighing the cons there, just from that list. But do your own list. Those examples, we all know I'm bad at examples, but you get the point. Somebody's listening. I can't believe you just made a pros and cons list and explain how to make a pros and cons list. Do you think I'm stupid? No, I don't think you're stupid at all. It's the other guy listening that is.
Right.
Or the other woman. Sorry, guys.
Well, sometimes we just got to go back to basics, man.
Yeah. You do. You really do. And maybe I'll tell Mark to do that. You know, like make a list of pros and cons, Mark. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you tripping, dog? Obviously, something's not going right with your life. Something's not happening. You know, he felt like crying, but he can't cry or something. Like, it's another reason why I didn't really want to talk to him last night.
Yeah, give him a minute to process.
Yeah, I bet when I talk to him today, it's going to go one of two ways. It'll be like, yeah, man, like I probably should look into getting some help, or no, man, I was just having a minute.
Mm-hmm. Happens a lot.
I'm good now.
Yep.
6 beers in. Last night I was 6 beers and 5th in, so.
Yeah, and how often do you have those moments?
Right.
That's the question.
If I can just make him feel comfortable with, look, man, reach out and know that I'm not judging him, and make him feel like it's not as bad as he thinks it is.
Right, and we don't know
for help.
Right, and we don't know where he's at, and there's not a uniform, real answer to what it is that he truly needs right now. So maybe he just say, hey, where are you up to just going to therapy? Yeah,
and it doesn't mean he needs to go to inpatient treatment. That doesn't mean that at all.
Right.
Some people do.
Maybe he does. I don't know.
Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? But not everybody does. My friend that I went to school with, she reached out to me about another friend that was in the same grade and went to school with, graduated 100 years ago. And I ended up talking to her one night for a really long time. And she had kind of dabbled in AA, but she ended up not going into treatment. But she did, get a therapist and stuff like that. But she kind of worked it out on her own, and she's doing okay. She's sober, and that's the most important thing. And not everybody has to go into treatment, and maybe Mark doesn't have to do that, but
right.
Yeah, just to let him know, hey man, it's cool. Don't feel ashamed of yourself. You don't have to feel bad for choosing a better life to live for yourself.
Right.
We get that mixed up sometimes. So if you know somebody who's going through it, just let them know that. Like, look, you're choosing a better life, a better way at life. Like, everything in your life will be better. Guaranteed. Yeah, but I don't have money to pay this. Okay, I'm not talking about that. Get a different job. But everything else, everything in life will be better. Even dealing with that situation will be better. Speaking of dealing with situations, you made me deal with one today. Yeah. Let's fix the old credit, she says. Yeah. I said, okay, honey. You're like, get on this, do this, go to this credit thing, get you a little secured card. And before, I know when because you did it for yourself too. And I was like, wait, you're going to pay them $9 to hold your money? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, it does make sense. I mean, they report things, and that's how you build your credit. And I ran into the same situation in 2010 when I went to buy a new car. And they're like, in Arkansas, they said this, you ain't got no credit, man. And I said, yeah, no. Isn't that awesome? He's like, no, you ain't got none. I was like, I know. I learned my lesson when I was 18. No, you didn't. Because you need some credit to have credit line and this and that. I was like, what? It's kind of back to that now, where I don't have credit cards. I don't have anything like that. I used to, kind of got carried away for a minute. And so it's time to repair some things, though, because you start realizing, and I always swore that I would never buy a house again. But now I kind of am excited about it. And it's not, I guess it's different because it's not like I'm buying a house again. It'd be us buying a house. Mm-hmm. And that to me is totally different than when I bought my first house, just driving around looking by myself, and actually having this chance to do that with you, it changes. It's not the same at all. But I'm looking forward to that. In order to do that, got to have a little better credit.
Yeah. It was interesting, though, because it was one of those things where, I mean, you could compare it. We were afraid. And you can compare it to stuff like real big stuff, right? Where, like, I don't want to even look at it. I don't even want to know. Like, I don't even want to press the button to have it register to remind me of, things that I've done and irresponsibilities that I've been through. I don't want to deal with it. And I said, sweetie, like, none of that's it's not going to go away by not looking at it. Like, you not pressing the button and having it show you on a screen that it exists does not make it not exist. You're like, yeah, but I don't. It's just been so nice to not No. And I'm thinking, like, that's not the answer. Like, if we want to live recovery, if we're having this podcast and, you know, giving all this advice or suggestions, rather, you know, let's follow our own advice and, you know,
change it up, deal with the issues.
and look at, you know, because like I said, it's dealing with your past, you know, and I didn't make you do it the day after we started dating. I didn't even do it the day after. You know, I've been doing this now. I started this a year ago. And my credit's gone up like 120 points just because I've been dealing with my crap, my irresponsibility, financial irresponsibility of my past.
I appreciate you taking the time to walk me through the steps of how to do that.
You're welcome.
Who's that guy that writes those books?
But I'm going to start my shout outs though. Oh, yeah, your guy.
Dave Ramsey. You're going to be the female Dave
No,
Ramsey.
not that good. That's Rachel. That's my friend Rachel. I'm trying to pass the torch of what she started doing, and she gave me the insight.
Just a simple
Inside
$200 check will connect you to Rachel. Donate now at 217recovery.com.
Yeah, she knows what's up. So
That's good. It's
yeah.
good to meet people like that. So anyway, let's do the shout outs and wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah, so that was my shout out. Shout out to Rachel. Shout out to Kate. I'm going to shout out to Angela and Christina, my friend Emmy, to Samantha, and to Janet.
All right. I'm going to shout out to our very own voice guy, Tyrone Hatcher.
Hi, Tyrone.
Getting fantasy football organized this year, and I think he's going to have a better year. He had the number 1 overall pick in the draft last year and selected Matthew Stafford.
That's what's up, you know what I'm saying?
No, that is what's up, and that's why I made sure he got the fantasy footballers draft kit. Yeah, the ultimate draft kit, the UDK as they call it, and they donated it to 217 Recovery.
Yeah, I'm going to use it.
The
I'm
people
using
that
it.
are in there. So big shout out to them as well again. And a shout out to my Aunt Barb.
Hi, Aunt Barb.
She listens a lot. She sends me messages a lot too. I like that. You know, I think she likes it too because I'm not drunk. You know, it's like, hey,
I like it too, Aunt Barb, that he's not drunk.
you can have so many different relationships. It's amazing in your life when you're not just a drunk mess. So it's nice. You know, it's cool that she listens and, you know, she digs the show. She digs the podcast and
And
So
can I shout out to Sandy?
nice things
Because
about
she
me.
listens.
Yeah, she's slipping. She's up behind a little bit.
Oh.
It was funny though when she met our new kitten. Sandy is my mother. She was over and she wanted to meet her grandkitty. She's never met Luna or Bren. And Bren is, I don't know, a little kitty. And this thing goes around crop dusting. Like, he is the stinkiest cat I've ever met. Like, I didn't know they could be this bad. Luna had some gas issues at first. That has since kind of gone away. This little monster runs from room to room, just like, we don't hear it either. So it's like,
He's tinky.
I'm looking at Marnie. Marnie's looking at me, and we're just like, no.
Oh, no, it's really
now
unique.
yeah.
It's kitty poop.
We recognize the smell. So,
It's still so cute, though.
but after thinking Nico was a boy for 6 months, and Nico's 12 now, I realized she was a girl. You know, so I can't really tell boys and girls. So Bryn was kind of a in the middle name for Bryn. So my mom was going to pick him up and flip him over and have the old look-see. And she did that, and oh man, he just let go. She was like, whoa, stinky kitty. I'm like, yeah.
I know, but he's so adorable.
Yeah, it was pretty funny though. I'm also shout out to Christine K. She's a big fan of Dave Grohl. When we did the whole talk about people we would meet and stuff, she left a comment on the YouTube thing, and I don't know if I ever gave her a shout out. So
Nice.
there you go. Thanks for listening, and I do appreciate it. Listen on the app, 217recovery.com. Hopefully we got some exciting news coming in, I guess, September, maybe a month. Hopefully.
For the business.
Pray for us, please. Yes, and to help people. But yeah, thanks for listening. 217recovery.com, like I said, has resources. Get the app. It's free, and you can get your daily readings from AA and stuff on there too, and videos. And Adam's video, I know it's the 6th of August, but by the end of this weekend, it will be up at 217recovery.com and on the app.
Nice.
Yeah, the
Looking
recovery
forward to that.
spotlight. Look for that. So. Appreciate you. Peace out. We'll talk Tuesday.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. For more episodes plus bonus features, download the 217 Recovery app and support recovery by rating us in the App Store.